Are you feeling stuck in your marriage, thinking about divorce, but not quite ready to pull the trigger? What if I told you there are real, legally recognized options in Singapore that could save you time, money, and maybe even help you avoid unnecessary stress or emotional trauma? In this video, I'll walk you through not one, not two, but 4 alternatives to divorce. Some of them may surprise you, and one of them might be exactly what you need right now. No, not at all. Divorce might be the most well-known option, but it's not the only one. If you are unsure, not ready, or hoping for a less painful outcome, there are other legal options worth exploring. Now, I'm sure you are wondering, how? So Singapore law recognizes options that can give couples space, time, and support without jumping straight into a divorce. These include, first, annulment for marriages that were never valid from the start. Second, legal separation for couples who need to live apart but aren't ready or eligible for divorce. Third, marriage counselling. Or fourth, family mediation for couples who want to work things out or separate on better terms. Each one serves a different purpose, and in some cases, you might even be required to try them before filing for divorce. Understanding these options can help you take the next step with more clarity and confidence. Let's start with annulment. An annulment is a legal process that declares a marriage null and void. In other words, it treats the marriage as if it never legally existed. It is not for everyone, but in the right circumstances, it can be a clean and relatively fast solution. There are 2 ways to annul a marriage. First, void marriages. These are marriages that were never valid from the start. For example, if one person was already married or if the couple are closely related by blood. Second, voidable marriages. These need a court application and include reasons like no sexual intercourse due to incapacity or refusal. For example, lack of consent because of duress, or one party having a sexually transmitted disease at the time of the marriage. Annulment can be especially useful for younger couples or for those who are married for less than 3 years, since such couples cannot normally file for divorce. As a helpful tip, you can take note that most couples who annul their marriages tend to do so on the grounds of willful non-consummation of the marriage. Legal separation lets couples live apart without ending the marriage. It is a good option when divorce isn't ideal, maybe because of religious beliefs, emotional readiness, or financial concerns. It also works for couples who just need some breathing room to figure things out. There are a few ways to do it. First, simply live apart. Second, sign a deed of separation, which is a legal agreement that covers things like finances, housing, and child arrangements. Third, apply for a judicial separation order through the court. This is similar to divorce, but without ending the marriage. It legally acknowledges your separation and formalizes your obligations moving forward. Legal separation can give you clarity, structure, and time to make decisions, whether that's working things out or preparing for divorce later on down the road. For some, it's a dignified, non-final way to manage marital conflict. Many people think counseling is a waste of time. But in Singapore, it can be a turning point, especially when children are involved. The idea is to minimize trauma and encourage communication between parties. In fact, if you have children under 21 and are filing for divorce, counseling is mandatory. Marriage counseling is separate, but this gives you a safe space to talk through difficult issues such as miscommunication and even betrayal issues. Trained professionals, often from the DSSAs, can help you make sense of the emotions, patterns, or past wounds that may be hurting your relationship. It is not about blame, it is about clarity and healing. Some couples do reconcile, others find closure and move on more peacefully. Even if you still choose to divorce, attending counseling seriously can help with co-parenting, child access issues, and reducing emotional damage to the parents. Mediation is when a neutral third party helps you and your spouse work out an agreement. It's informal, private, and focused on finding common ground. It is not about winning or losing. The Family Justice Court strongly encourage mediation, especially if kids are involved. Mediation can help you in three ways: sort out custody, divide assets, and agree on maintenance. The mediator doesn't take sides, they guide the conversation, helping both parties shape a fair and practical solution moving forward. Mediation is especially suitable for couples who want to keep things civil between themselves, avoid courtroom battles, and save on legal costs. It also puts the power back into your hands. Rather than letting a judge decide on your future, you get to shape a solution that works for both parties and for your children. It can be done privately or through court appointed sessions like the family dispute resolutions. Even if emotions run high, mediation often leads to better outcomes than if parties go fight it out in the courtroom. If your spouse refuses to take part in mediation, that doesn't mean you are stuck. In cases involving children under 21 years old, counseling or mediation may be mandatory. If your spouse refuses, the court may issue warnings or take that into account when making decisions later on about custody or other matters. Even if mediation is not mandatory, your efforts will be seen. The court will value sincere attempts by parties to resolve things amicably. Although you cannot force someone to engage in mediation sincerely, if a spouse attends counseling or mediation simply to go through the motion, progress may be limited in value. If mediation fails, the case goes to trial. But your cooperation can reflect positively on you, and you can hold your head up high knowing that you have tried your best in trying to resolve the matter. Yes, you can. In fact, separation is one of the recognized grounds for divorce in Singapore. You can live apart for up to 3 years or 4 years and then use this period as the legal basis for your divorce, depending on whether your spouse consents. Even if you live under the same roof but don't share meals together, sleep in the same room, or maintain a spousal relationship, you can qualify as separated in the eyes of the court. This is called separation in the same household and has been recognized in past cases. To avoid complications, some people choose to sign a deed of separation, and this formally spells out the terms clearly of the separation. This document sets out both parties' rights and responsibilities whilst they are living apart. Without such an agreement, disputes over finances, parenting, or property may escalate or become disputed later by the parties, especially if the matter eventually becomes contested. So yes, you can live apart peacefully, but always consider documenting the arrangement to protect yourself later on, especially if divorce is inevitable. The biggest risk is that you may miss out on key opportunities to reduce conflict, lower legal costs, and protect your relationship with your children. In Singapore, divorce is a serious legal process with major consequences, especially for children. By skipping counseling, you risk appearing rash, uncooperative, and indifferent to the emotional impact on your family. Furthermore, some issues, like whether to sell the matrimonial home now or how to co-parent, can be deeply emotional and divisive. Without counseling, my fear is that parties may act out of hurt, anger, or fear. This can result in poor communication, litigation delays, and ultimately more stress for the parties. Going straight to divorce also closes off the chances of reconciliation. For couples on the fence, counseling provides space for you to decide without the pressure of legal processes in court. Even if it doesn't work, you will enter the divorce process with greater emotional clarity and a more mature point of view. Not at all. Mediation is often used by couples who are not on good terms but are willing to try and resolve issues without a public court battle. The presence of a trained mediator can diffuse tension, correct misunderstandings, and keep discussions on track. In fact, many couples end up resolving their conflict better in mediation than in a courtroom. Why? Because the process in mediation is private, not adversarial, and tailored to the parties' unique needs, where the parties retain control of the eventual outcome. There is room for flexibility, unlike court judgments, which tend to be binary. Either one party wins or loses. That said, mediation does require both parties to show up and try meaningfully. If one party is intent on sabotaging the process or refuses to cooperate meaningfully, then mediation may fail and the matter will go to trial. But even then, partial agreements reached during mediation can be recorded as a court order and enforced later on. So don't dismiss mediation just because emotions are high. You don't need to be best friends, you just need to be willing to find a solution together. If you are unsure, the best first step is to consult a family lawyer. A good lawyer won't push you towards divorce at all costs. They will help you to understand your situation and explore your options. You might realize that separation or counseling is a better first step. Or maybe you qualify for annulment and don't even know it yourself. Some clients are relieved to discover they have time to make decisions without having to rush into a court battle. You should also consider your emotional readiness. Divorce is not just a legal process, it is a life-altering event. If you are still hoping for reconciliation or if children are involved, alternatives like counseling and mediation could be more appropriate at this stage. Don't rush, get the facts right. Think carefully about the future and remember, this isn't just a legal issue, it's about your life, your children, and your future. I hope this gave you some clarity. If you are struggling to decide what to do next, whether it's divorce, annulment, separation, or anything in between, speak with a family lawyer. I'm Clement Yong, a divorce and family lawyer in Singapore. If you find this useful, subscribe for more clear and practical insights into Singapore family law. Share this with someone who might need to hear this.